Okay, let's start the session now. Hello, guys, and good afternoon, and welcome you all in this Copilot session. Myself, Archie said, and I'm a host for this session, guys. If you have any question and queries, please put question on chat box. We'll be there to help you out. Then moving ahead, talking about our event sponsor, that is Synergetics. So Synergetics is an India one-of-kind co-porting learning solution company. Now you will get a question like who we are and what we're doing. So answering your question, we boost our offering and also give comprehensive advisory service to client who wish to modernize their framework. We educate, advise, and implement and manage. Then the Synergetic solution offering, that is persona based onboarding solution, onboarding add on, certification solution, certification add on, reskilling solution, emerging technology training solution, certification hackathon solution, cloud adoption, latest technology training solution, sales pre sales training, practice playbook solution, and architecting solution. What this Microsoft certification training does, it will give you complete learning experience. You will get trained, build confidence to appear for the exam and get certified. This is skilling journey. Here you can advance yourself. First, you have to complete fundamental certification. Then you can go with the advanced role-based certification. Then expert level certification. In fundamental level certification, we have Azure Fundamental, Azure AI Fundamental, Azure Data Fundamental, Power Platform Fundamental, and Security and Identity Fundamentals. In associate level certification, we have many types of certification. Here you can see on my screen. In expert level certification, we have AZ305, SC100, PL600, and AZ400. Also, we have special certification that is AZ120, AZ140, AZ220. If you want any certification, you can connect with us. I already shared contact details on chat box. Then certification offering those so certification will help you to increase your visibility, expand your knowledge and skills. We do provide certification add-on, onboarding add-on like short duration modules and more. Then moving ahead, today training is organized and handled by the ATC community. So our ATC community is open to all the people who are interested in our cloud technology and various emerging technology. Under the ATC community, we have emerging technology community for all. Then Azure Tech community for Punekars, emerging technology community for Surat, Azure Tech community for Nagpurkars. Guys, you just have to install the Meetup app and you can follow our communities there. Then you have to follow the code of conduct, which will create a respectful environment for all the participants. Please note that participants are not allowed to take screenshot of the presentation and cannot do screen recording. We will try to upload this training on our official YouTube channel. Today's speaker for this session, Mr. Om Prakash Pandey. He is a Microsoft certified trainer and currently works with Synergetics as a AVP delivery. Agenda for this webinar, you will get to know more about the topic and benefit of it. Also, you can read the agenda. In this session, we are providing you learning achievement badge. You just have to follow the step and you will get the activated badge. Guys, don't forget to follow us on our social media platform like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube for upcoming event updates. Thank you for my side. Now I would like to hand over this mic our speaker. He will continue ahead.
Hello and welcome everyone. Extremely sorry for the inconvenience. I think somebody was not able to hear Archie correctly. So not to worry, folks. She'll also put the same information on the chat so it becomes clear to y'all. And in case y'all have any questions, queries regarding any of the points being mentioned, y'all can ask those questions on the chat once again. She will answer those questions. She was in a bit of a hurry because we are already starting this session 10 minutes ahead of the scheduled time. Apart from that, this is only a 2-hour session and there are a lot of topics to cover here. She wants to take least space and give more space to me so I can cover these topics in required depth and make sure that everybody who's eager to learn, they are investing their weekend, part of the weekend for learning a new technology. Everybody gets a thorough understanding. She has already initiated the recording. Still, my request to all of you all would be attend maximum of the session so that you all can learn the most out of here. I may not be able to check the chat that frequently, but whenever I go to the chat, if there are any questions, doubts, queries being asked from technical perspective, I'll make sure I answer those questions. Let's get started. Guys, this is MS 4004 course. There is there are three types of learning resources that Microsoft has come up with. So you have certifications, you have applied skills, and you have courses. Certifications are 4 day, 5 day kind of course, pretty large curriculum focusing on specific areas, and you have a certification there, which is the Azure role based certification or Microsoft role based certifications. Applied skills that you have, these are 1 day kind of courses, very similar to fundamentals, but applied skills goes deeper into a specific section and you have a badge for it. Similarly, once it comes to MS 4004, this is also a course. The difference from applied skill is applied skill you'll have to implement a lab. In this scenario, you don't have a lab available. The reason being, if you look at your Copilot resources, whether it is Copilot for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, right? The standard Copilot offering. If you look at Copilot for security, if you look at any other Copilot offering that you have right now, Microsoft is not providing a free license there, right? That's the reason why you don't have a pre-built lab over here, lab environment over here, similar to the other applied skill courses that you have. Nevertheless, this is a very good opportunity for all of us to get ourselves upgraded on what is this Microsoft 365 Copilot all about? What are the key benefits that you have? What are the key resources which Microsoft is providing to make sure every individual within the organization is being updated about it? There are three important aspects over here once it comes to Microsoft 365 Copilot. One aspect over here is from an individual basis, what is our learning over here? How do we upgrade ourselves? Step number two, we'll be using these things in our day-to-day operations within our organization, within the department that we work for, within our business that we are working with, right? And the level three, we'll be using these things to help achieve the organization objective. My name is Om Prakash Pandey. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I am blessed to be working with Synergetics IT Services Private Limited. I'm performing a role of AVP delivery. I manage consulting team. I manage learning services team as well. More than 100 plus people reported to me for various day in day out activities. And even in my area, I have started leveraging on Copilot myself, working with marketing team, working with sales team, working with delivery resources on various emerging areas. Copilot has been very, very useful for me. Thanks Archie and the entire marketing team for giving me this opportunity to share my experience and knowledge on Copilot area. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, listening to me. I know after a hectic week, sneaking out 2 hours from your family time is very difficult, but your commitment towards learning is commendable. Thanks for that. I want to make sure we get maximum out of this session. As part of this course, what we are going to discuss about, like Archie mentioned, various use cases within the current environment. Am I already a thorough professional on Copilot? I will not say that. Even I am a learner, same as y'all. The only difference is I have just started it a year ago. and you all are starting it today, or some of you all may have spent a month or two on Copilot, because this is a new environment. Yes, the foundational technologies behind Copilot, I am aware about that. I have been working on that, but Copilot itself is a new environment. So if somebody says, I want to hire somebody with 4 years of Copilot experience, not possible, because this technology did not come 4 years ago. It's hardly 1 year. And still, even Microsoft is taking feedback from various people, maturing this tool, making it more and more relevant to every business case. Before I go into details of this, can I see raise of hands? People who have worked with Microsoft 365 earlier. Microsoft 365. I can see only one hand being raised. Bhumi, Nanda, I can see one more going up. Anybody else? Can I see a raise of hand? People who have worked with Microsoft 365 platform. Okay. Slowly and steadily, there are more hands going up. Sunil, Pratham, Praveen. Okay. Not a problem. Thank you very much, guys. Put your hands down. So, folks, what I understand from this is around 75% of the class is new to this environment, new to Microsoft 365 platform. So I'll invest 5-10 minutes on that area before we get into Copilot to make sure we are aligned, we understand these resources. Just give me a moment. So guys, once it comes to Microsoft 365, this has been for quite some time. And from Microsoft perspective, earlier, the name for this was Office 365, and then they have changed it to Microsoft 365. And the new member which has been added over here is enterprise mobility and security. So earlier it was called as Office 365 because it was focusing on the online set of services, online set of tools. But later, Microsoft added the client side solutions in terms of Windows 10 and enterprise mobility plus security. The reason being, all these applications that were part of Office 365, they have to be accessible via your EMS suite, and they should be available on different set of devices, whether it is Android, whether it is Mac, or any other kind of device that you have. The core principles that is being focused over here: unlocking creativity, maximum focus on teamwork, and in the back of the platform, what you have is intelligent security, which helps you protect your information within your domain. We don't want to leak out any critical information, any compliance related aspects. All these things are being taken care by Microsoft itself, so that it becomes simpler for us from an administration point of view, from end user point of view. That's our core advantage here. Since you all have worked with Microsoft Office 365, at least, or your Office suite within your on-premises environment, Jay has a very good question. So Jay, once the So I think Archie has already shared the badge URL. There are no certification for this. There's no certificate here. You have a badge, and that badge is equivalent to your certification that you'll get by attending this course. So in Microsoft, you have badges. So, guys, from office suite perspective or office environment perspective, which tools have you all used? If you all can put down on the chat, which applications have you all used on your local machine? Can I say people have been using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, right? Basic tools, Outlook, Teams. Am I correct with that? So if you have used any tools beyond this, okay, OneNote, I can see more details coming up. Outlook, Teams. Ayush mentioned about OneNote. Any other tools beyond these anybody has used? Okay, OneDrive again. That's great to see. So guys, Chat GPT as well. So once it comes to Microsoft 365 environment, this is actually a huge platform that we have, and there are plenty of resources here. And I would say we have not been using more than 20% of the tools available to us. There are a lot of other resources like Dynamics 365, which is having CRM and ERP, very similar to your Salesforce kind of environment. Along with this, you have Microsoft Stream, which is very similar to your YouTube environment, an organizational YouTube. SharePoint Online, which is very similar to OneDrive for business from a usage point of view, but this is much more structured, much more organized resource as compared to OneDrive. Along with this, you have your email solutions, Outlook, Skype for business is no more continued. Kaizala has been deprecated. I have seen less and less usage of Yammer recently because all of these are being merged into Teams today. This has become a very, very prominent solution for our day-to-day communication and collaboration. Along with this, you have your calendar. I'm not sure how many of you have used it as an independent resource. Most of us would have used it within the Outlook environment. Same way for people, tasks, most of these things are integrated in the Outlook. Barring these tools, there are a lot of other resources as well, like Microsoft Forms, Power Platform, Copilot Studio, Power Automate, Power BI. I already mentioned about Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote. Trainers like us, we leverage on Whiteboard. What are the uh, free form creation of contents? This becomes a easier tool for us. We have new resources being added like bookings, staff hub, planner, project online. There are plenty of new tools that we have. For example, Sway, creating a next generation presentations. There are plenty of other resources and tools that we have not looked at or we may not have explored. Now, one would say, Om Prakash, you're talking about so many tools, but I have never seen any of these tools. How do I get to use them? How do I get to see them? So we will have to stop or get out of the habit of using our local system, installed applications. Instead, we should be latching on to portal.office.com And y'all can do it right away as we speak. If y'all have received a organization account, y'all can look at portal.office.com. Depending upon whatever permissions, whatever licenses y'all have been assigned, y'all will be able to see those applications over here, because this is entirely governed by role-based access control, which means whatever role is being assigned to y'all within that organization, y'all will be able to access, create only those resources. People who may have administrative privileges, they can do many more tasks, but even from a basic user perspective, y'all can go to portal.office.com, or y'all can look at Microsoft365.com. Here you all can see a lot of important information, relevant details in terms of what is being currently assigned to y'all. Like I said, there are a lot of pre-existing apps, pre-existing applications, which may be mapped to y'all. But since you are not going to this portal, since you are not going to this site, y'all may not be aware about it. Second important member that you all should be looking at would be respective mobile apps. Now, there are a lot of applications over here which do not have a desktop application, but they may not have a desktop application, but they have a mobile application. Say, for example, you all must have never seen a desktop application for OneDrive unless you go and install that and you synchronize with your machine. But if you go for a OneDrive mobile app, you'll get that easily. Same way for Power Platform, you don't have any desktop app till now from last 5 years. But if you go for a mobile app, you'll get that. So there are a lot of resources, lot of services here which I'm showcasing that does not have a desktop app, but you have a mobile app for it. So resources like Planner, Planner as a resource for Power Pages, MS Project, right? Even for SharePoint Online, right? So many of them you have your mobile apps available. You can download them, install them, and work with it. So this was quick looking at what are the resources that we have within Microsoft 365 environment. But since that is not the focus area for us today, I'm not going into more details of that. You all can explore it later. Okay. I've already given you a gist of it. Go deeper into it. Explore each application. Explore each member that you have and look at each of these services over here. Coming back to our session and focus for today, this course is targeted towards the business users. And believe me on this, there are a lot of individuals who may not be from engineering background, who may not be from hardcore C, C++, Java background, but they have a very strong understanding of the business, whether it is coming from a commerce background, coming from MBA background, HR domain, finance domain, specializing. And today, if you look at the current college ecosystem. Gone are the days when you have vanilla versions of BSc, vanilla versions of BCom, or BA for that matter. Today, you have so many streams being created because the industry is demanding for people who are specialized in certain areas. Correct? So, keeping that kind of aspect in mind, today what we are going to do is today we are going to look at what are the business related use case scenarios where Copilot can make sense. Some of them I may be able to showcase over here. For others, I may not have sufficient amount of time. So what I'll do is I'll share these respective links. I'll share respective resource information with y'all, like I did for the Office 365 environment, so that whenever you all have time, you all can go deeper into it, read through all the modules, and complete your course. In current batch, RG may have just given you one link where you have redeemed the badge and you can flaunt that badge, show off it on your LinkedIn profile, Twitter, Facebook, or any other social media profiles. Please be careful. This is only the step one. There are a lot of other modules, lot of other information that you all should go through so that you have deep dive understanding of the topics and not just the badge. Its badge is just the starting point to get a kickstart and get started with it. But there's a long journey that we'll have to cover. And like Archie mentioned, let me reiterate her point. We are there with you as an organization to support you, your learning journey, so that you all excel within your respective job roles by making use of these certifications. As part of this course, what we are going to discuss about is various use case exercises. For this, every participant should have Microsoft 365 subscription. This is BYOS, bring your own subscription. It is expected that you already have a license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. You should have purchased it or your organization should have provided you this. You all should have a Microsoft OneDrive account because all the Copilot information will be saved on the OneDrive. There are a lot of use case exercises that we have over here. There are sample material available, sample resources available, which I will be sharing with you all. The respective links I will be sharing with you all. So you all can practice those things. Correct. But like I mentioned earlier, unless you all have a license, you all will not be able to try out every aspect of that exercise. Nevertheless, that should not stop you from initiating the learning process and understanding what are the possibilities so that in future, if you are being given a license, you should know how to utilize that. Okay. As far as the core agenda is concerned, here if we see learning path one, where I will be spending maximum time, introduction to Microsoft 365 Copilot, exploring the possibilities, and finally, options for optimizing and extending Microsoft 365 Copilot. As far as the learning path 2 is concerned, this is where I may not go to, I will not be able to go through every use case because of the time constraint, nothing else. But whatever is possible, I will take up those use cases. I will share required links and resources to you all so that you all can practice it in your free time. As far as these cases are concerned or the resources being given, these are pre-built fictitious companies that you have, and we are comparing that information, working with those resources If you're using your Copilot license over here, take a separate folder. Don't mix it with your day-to-day activities. Take a separate folder, perform these tasks, perform these activities, and once it is done, just delete that. Okay? So you know that in future, if I get a similar kind of requirement, how can I work with it? Now, one would say, Om Prakash, I'm not working with multiple departments. I'm working with one department. Say maybe I'm working with IT department or I'm working with HR department. You can go deeper into that scenario. See, being a trainer, I'm introducing all these scenarios, correct? But from your day-to-day perspective, or what is your current role within the organization, you can go to one scenario, go into more details of that, and create more scenarios yourself, depending upon your asks from your management, asks from your other team members. Like I said, you all should be using your own device. If you have your subscription, use that subscription. You must be a license. You must have a license from you must have a license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. Anybody who's a basic end user within an organization, it might be slightly expensive for them, especially within my current session. People who are business owners, people who are looking at creating a startup, right? Or some of you all who may already have a startup. I would recommend you should buy at least one or two licenses, use it yourself, assign it to some of your team members, and start taking the advantage of it. I am not suggesting to go for 50, 60 licenses to start with, right? Take one or two licenses, five licenses, at least to start with exploring what it is all about. So that as we proceed ahead, you'll have more and more knowledge of what how Copilot can help you and what are the core advantages over here. Microsoft has clearly mentioned this, saying there could be user experience discrepancies. The reason being there is a consistent change happening within the Copilot environment based on the customer's feedback. There are a lot of icons which have undergone a change. Some of the names have changed over here, right? Like earlier name was Microsoft Flow. Now it is Power Automate. Earlier name was Power Virtual Agents. Now it is Microsoft Copilot Studio, right? So that's why people like us are required who can guide you all in terms of how and how to access those services, what are the changes in the names that we have, so that we can understand and use those members. So once it comes to the ending of the course, here y'all can go ahead, continue using these use case exercises. Y'all can practice it multiple times using your own license. As far as the curriculum is concerned, as part of your personal self-study, I will be sharing respective links with y'all. Y'all can go through those links, prepare yourself, right? If you want to go to the next level over here would be an administration exam, that is MS 102, or y'all would want to do more applied skills or courses on Copilot. Some of you all who are from developer background or people who want to customize the existing Copilot resources, you can also take up a course on Copilot Studio, going deep dive into it, and how do you extend and integrate with your Azure platform open AI resources. You all can do that as well. So this was a quick understanding of the curriculum, understanding of the topics. Just give me a moment. Let me share some of the critical details over here regarding this course. My request to all of you all, take a look at the respective links over here. This is a beginner level course that we have, 1 day course mapped to a business user. And that's why I categorically mentioned startups, because those are the guys who will understand that since there are multiple functions they have to work with, executives, sales, marketing, finance, HR. So how Copilot can help you in each of these departments. Right now, if you have a small organization, you all will be you yourself will be managing 2 or 3 departments, right? Maybe finance, HR, right? 2, 3 departments will be managed by a single person, or 2, 3 people maybe assigned respective tasks on that department. But as we move by, things will become more and more difficult. So you need somebody as an assistant, and it could be a human being, or it could be a pre-trained resource like your Copilot. If you look at the learning resources here, there are 2 modules. Module 1, getting started with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Second is empower your workforce with Copilot use cases. Let me put respective links for each of these members as well. So what y'all are supposed to do is, y'all are supposed to go through each module here, understand the module objective, read through the points over here. What is the purpose of Microsoft 365? Where can we use it? There are plenty of videos as well. Let me play one of the videos here.
Large language models that interact with your data using the Microsoft Graph and optionally the internet to generate personalized experiences with related context as you work, reducing the otherwise manual steps to find the information you need to get up and running fast. So what makes this all possible? Copilot for Microsoft 365 provides a powerful orchestration engine and combines the power of large language models, your universe of data via Microsoft Graph, the internet, and your Microsoft 365 apps. The Microsoft Graph has long been foundational to Microsoft 365. It includes information about the relationships and activities over your organization's data. It works together with the semantic index for Copilot to orchestrate information retrieval. Discovered information along with the original user prompt is then presented back to the large language model to generate an informed response, which is then returned back to the corresponding app. Importantly, Copilot for Microsoft 365 only uses information that you explicitly have access to, and it respects the security and compliance controls that you have in place with Microsoft 365. Information used while you work with Copilot for Microsoft 365 will never be used to train the large language model, and that also means that your chat history is not retained by the large language model.
This might give you a bit of information and more of questions. So in terms of what this is all about, how we can leverage on these resources, right? So this videos that you'll see is hardly 2 minutes video, 1 minute, 36 seconds. This leaves us with a lot of questions in terms of what is this LLM all about? What is Microsoft Graph, correct? It says your information will not be shared, right? So there could be a lot of questions coming to our mind. Now, answering those questions, you have all the available text below. And the purpose of this module, the purpose of this course is to help you all go through these resources, go through the members, and have a better understanding of what these members are all about. more and more you read from Microsoft Learn environment, you have respective badges over here, and it goes to your next level. So even if you see, I'm still a learner, and though I may have reached level 14, I still have a lot of other points to cover. Correct? So you can see the overall points over here. So even I keep learning, even after my 25 years within this industry, every day something new is happening. So y'all being at any level, any role right now, my request will be, don't give up reading. Keep learning, keep reading things on daily basis. The next module that we have over here is empower your workforce with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Same way, like I showed you for the first module, I'm also pasting a link over here. Pratham, all my YouTube videos, you will be able to see it on the Synergetics channel. Archie will provide you the link soon, so you all can search for me. Apart from that, a lot of my other colleagues, their videos on AI 102 and other Copilot Studio resources, you all will find it over there. So I've shared link for both the modules. This is where you all will get started, understand the details here in terms of executive use case. What is the scenario? What are the required expectations that an expectations from an executive? What is that person supposed to do? And here, if you see, there are set of exercises which is being mentioned. Summarize chat and channel threads using Microsoft 365 Copilot in Teams. Right? So they have given you details in terms of the exercise. What is supposed to be done? How can you capture these resources? Create a speech using Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word. So what is the exercise? What are the details? What steps one has to perform? And here, if you see, select the following link to download a copy of Fabric and income statement. Now, one would be worried saying it is asking me to perform a task or an activity. Do I have to type all these things myself? Do I have to create all these resources myself? Right? That could become a challenge. That's why they have also given us set of pre-existing resources, pre-existing members to work with during each of these exercises. Okay. So I have already shared the links with you all. You all can do these things as you go ahead. Apart from the YouTube channel link, which Archie will be sharing soon, you all can also go through a lot of pre-existing videos on MS 4004, the current course. These are Microsoft videos. This will be another helpful resource for you all. So some of you all who may be from sales background, you all or business background, you all would be thinking about selling Copilot, reaching out to your end customers, talking to them, convincing them on Copilot, right? This will be an important resource for us, important resource for y'all. So you can go through these modules, go through these videos, create your own script, what you're going to speak, right? Which features you are going to showcase. And if you have to sell it, the first thing should be you should have used it yourself, correct? And that can only happen if you purchase a license. Like I said, take one or two licenses, practice it yourself, or the second way is go through all the videos so that even if you don't have a license, you should be able to explain those things and perform those activities if you are being given a license. license on customer side. Now, one thing that everybody should have as a question. Om Prakash, you were saying you'll have resources, you can get this information, but where are those resources? So guys, so one way of downloading these resources could be as you keep reading, there are respective links available, right? So you can download these links from there. That's one option. Second option that you have is you have a GitHub link available. Guys, how many of you have used GitHub earlier? Can I see raise of hands? How many of you have used GitHub? And I'm not talking about GitHub Copilot. I'm just talking about simple GitHub. Only two of them. Okay. One more hand going up. Manoj Kumar says he also has worked on GitHub. Excellent. Thank you guys. Put your hands down. So guys, once it comes to GitHub, it's a very, very important resource. And please don't consider this only for developers. Now, many times people feel as a business user, what have I to do with GitHub? GitHub is a place where it's very similar to your OneDrive. The addition over here is version control. In OneDrive, you may not have version control unless you have enabled it. Here, it's a version controlled environment. Plus, there are a lot of other features. I'm not talking about that right now. This may not be the right forum for it. I'm also sharing you all this link, GitHub link. I'll tell you all how to use it. So while you all are doing the reading, you all need to go to the code section, this green color mark that you'll see, download the zip file. Okay. You all can download the zip file here. Once you download the zip file, this is what you will get. You'll see all files, instructions, resource files. Okay. So go to your instructions, go to the labs. This is where you'll see all the labs. So when you're looking at your course and it says empower workforce for executives, what are the relevant labs here? Same way, empower workforce for HR. What are the labs over here? Correct. So you have respective labs within each of the folders. Apart from that, if you remember the Excel file it was asking to download, yeah, that files you'll see over here. So Word documents, resumes, right? Product specification, project plan, agreement. So while you are doing the reading, while you are asked to perform set of activities, these documents are being given to you. On this document, using Copilot members, you'll have to perform the next steps. So I hope this makes sense for you all. From a resources perspective, I can see hand being raised by Pratham. Pratham, you have any questions? You can put it on the chat. Okay. Maybe by mistake. So guys, I have shared all the required relevant links which can help you prepare for this course, prepare for Copilot. I'm sure everybody has redeemed the badges as of now. Can I see a quick revert on the chat? If you'll have redeemed the badges, the link was already shared by Archie earlier. Praveen says yes. Pratham also is done. Shanti Prakash is also done. People who have not done it, please do it right now before we go ahead with our first module. Take 5 minutes, not a problem. Everyone, go ahead, redeem your badges. Sure, Pratham, I'll answer that question. We'll give 5 minutes for everybody to redeem the badges. So guys, once you have done it, please put it on the chat. Rupak, Manoj, Tanish. Yeah, I'll share the link once again. Nandakumar, maybe. So I put the link once again on the chat. So you can use your Microsoft ID to redeem this badge. Right? I'm already logged in with my Synergetics ID. I just have to click on redeem. If you're not logged in, first you have to log in. Right? So here I will be able to see the modules, learning path, respective courses over here. So I can print this badge, empower your workforce with Microsoft 365 use cases, signed by Satya Nadella, and you can publish this. You can publish this on LinkedIn or any other profile that you want. So I have got 454 badges, 87 trophies, right? I would need you all to go much ahead than this. And this will happen as you keep reading. So once you go with the respective modules, you'll automatically get respective badges for it. Everyone done with this? Have you all redeemed the badges? Nanda Kumar? Sunil, Shiva, Maitreyi, Praveen. Okay, Nanda Kumar is done. Great. So once you are done with this, please put it on the chat. I'll give 2 more minutes. Then we'll continue with our first module. So Bhumi is done. Anyone who has not done it, please make sure you all redeem the badges. Jay, like I mentioned earlier, this badge which is being given is just a starting point. It still does not convey that you have learned that topic. So as you keep reading, as you keep learning, you'll get more badges. And that should be the right approach. This is complementary because you all are starting with this journey. You are new to this environment. Sorry guys, I don't have time. So I'm sure everybody has understood the significance of this course. I have already shared all the relevant resources where you all can read through things and access relevant resources. Let's proceed ahead. Let me go to the first module. As promised, I'll go deeper into this. Let's go to module 1. As part of module 1, what we are going to discuss about is understanding of what is this Copilot all about. And a very valid question was also being asked, right? How does it work? And what are the core components that we have within Microsoft 365 Copilot? Now, once it comes to Copilot, it's the same video which was being shown earlier. I have already showcased that. So I hope this quick presentation of quick video of 1 minute 30 seconds makes some sense for us. Whatever is being shown over here, this works exactly the same way. The only difference is you don't get the music. that music will be playing at back of our head. But in terms of the implementation, in terms of giving these instructions, asking these kind of questions, using the prompt. So you need to have a right kind of prompt over here, question being asked, and it will generate the required output for you. This is what happens on day-to-day basis. Now, one would say, what is the advantage do I get through this, and why this Copilot is an advanced member? So till now, what has been happening is for creating any Word document or creating any kind of presentation, what we do is we go to multiple websites, we copy some of the information from there, put it into the Word document. If we have to create a presentation, we go to different websites, we go to SlideShare, we go to other third-party environment, pick up the information from there, organize it, break it up into multiple slides, do a required formatting for it, right? And this might take more than a week at times to get those kind of designs or the first cut ideas being approved by other team members. And still you are not sure if you have gathered all information from the relevant industry verticals, got into various details of that. So once it comes to Copilot, this is your colleague, this is your friend, this is your assistant that you have, which can perform those activities for you. Some things which were taking you weeks can take you minutes over here. Or worst case scenario, it can take an hour for you in collating different information, different set of details, adding up into one environment. Especially if you're looking at emerging areas, if you're looking at new technologies, if you're looking at new customers, new ventures, we don't have too much time to think over it, deep dive curriculum, resources for it, because by the time the customer will go away, customer may have closed the deal with somebody else. So we have to be effective. We'll have to be time sensitive as well. Some of these things can be done using Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this Copilot system that you see now, why is it called as a system? Because this is available in more than 20 products that you have within your Microsoft 365 environment. So here, if you look at Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Loop, Teams, Outlook, everywhere you have integration of Copilot. The core purpose of this Copilot is to transform the way people work. And it's not just about one function, it's across multiple functions. It's not just for one industry, but across multiple industry verticals that we have. Many a times, you all must have seen in the first video where it was talking about LLMs. LLM is a large language model, which means there is large amount of information which is already being scanned and kept ready for you. Now, this information would be packaged into different verticals: customer service, HR department, legal, IT department, right? So with each of these functions, right, there will be a pre-existing large language model. But there's one challenge over there. The challenge over here is this is actually a generic information, generic details. It is nothing to do with your company, your employees, your team members, your uh, organization specific details that we have. So what we need to do is take this 90% information from the LLM, provide the remaining 10% information within your organization, combine them together so that it provides you information which is more relevant to your organization. Say, for example, we are doing a consulting, right? Like Synergetics as an organization is a consulting organization. And what we do is we engage with our customers, we advise them, we provide implementation scenarios, we provide managed services, right? We provide them learning services. Now, all this would require us to have complete brochures, complete details regarding what is managed services all about and what is Synergetics specific model of microservices. What are the additional things that we do, which provides us an edge over other competitors, so that existing 90% of information we can pick it from LLMs, Synergetics specific information or the differentiator, we can add it over here and then share it with pricing to our end customer. Same thing you all can do for your business as well. If you remember the video, it said the remaining information has to come from the graph environment, Microsoft Graph data. Graph data is just a, what do you say, a means of connecting all the dots, connecting all the services that we have. So these dots or these services are within Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, SharePoint, various 26 applications which I showed you all. This data is scattered in all those components. Getting all that information at one place, making it available to your end user. That is what we are supposed to do. Believe me on this, last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, there is so much of information created and is existing in your environment that we don't even know about it. Because many a times it is within the head of an individual. They may have documented it, kept it somewhere, but we are not aware. So at times what happens is we are doing the redundant activities, same resources, same documents we are creating again and again. By using LLMs, by using the search resources, search specific components, we are able to retrieve that relevant information. Now, once it comes to LLMs, large language models, the data we are picking regarding the industry, people have no complaints there. And they should not have because this is the generic information. Earlier, it was available on a website. Now, it is being organized and mapped in a simpler manner. Nothing else. People have a lot of questions about the 10% because that 10% is a differentiator for my organization. I have invested my blood, sweat, tears. I have my team who has done those mistakes. I have taken a hit back from the customer. I have learned it a hard way. Correct? So what I want to do is I don't want to give that information easily to anybody who's not part of my organization. Correct? That is my IP. That's my differentiator. So I don't want any of this information to go out. And Microsoft promises that. Microsoft says we are not going to share any of this information, that 10-15% information to the external world. That will be restricted or held only within your domain. Okay. Now, even within that domain, say Synthetics as an organization, we have certain IP, we have certain resources that should not be shared outside. It will not go unless you share it yourself. Correct? And that's where we can leverage on Microsoft Purview. We can leverage on DLP policy, data loss prevention policies. So we can create those resources. And that's what is the purpose of trusted data security. Now, even within the organization or within the domain, if Om Prakash has certain permissions on documents, Archie, who reports into Om Prakash or who's a junior employee within the organization, she will not be able to access any information where she does not have permissions. And that's what is meant by role-based access control. Even if both of us are writing the same prompt, we are writing the same question, she will not get that as part of her answer where she does not have permissions. Correct? So even within the organization, the same question may have answers depending upon what is the knowledge source or the document source where he or she has required permissions.
Microsoft 365 Copilot is powered by what we call the Copilot system, a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine. It harnesses the power of three foundational technologies: the Microsoft 365 apps, that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and more. The Microsoft Graph, that's all your content and context, your emails, files, meetings, chats, and calendar. And a large language model, or LLM, a creative engine capable of parsing and producing human-readable text, all accessible through natural language. It starts with a prompt from you in an app. Copilot pre-processes the prompt through an approach called grounding. Put simply, grounding improves the quality of the prompt, so you get answers that are relevant and actionable. One of the most important parts of grounding is making a call to the Microsoft Graph to retrieve your business content and context. Copilot combines this user data from the graph with other inputs to improve the prompt. It then sends that modified prompt to the LLM. You may be familiar with what an LLM can do based on your experience with ChatGPT or Bing Chat. Copilot takes the response from the LLM and post-processes it. This post-processing includes additional grounding calls to the graph, responsible AI checks, security, compliance, and privacy reviews, and command generation. Finally, Copilot sends a response to the user and commands back to the apps. Copilot iteratively processes and orchestrates these sophisticated services to produce a result that feels like magic.
So I hope things are getting better as we keep understanding the details. So correlation between the existing LLM and your existing information that we have, because all this information would make sense only if it is connected or only if it is mapped to the information within our organization. If it is only generic information or web-based content, it may not help us, it will not make sense for us. And that's where people have been making that difference. So your human assistants or people who have been working with you, this is what they were doing. Now that particular task is done by the AI-based resource, which is Microsoft 365 Copilot. And like I said, you will need to have a license over here. Unless we have the required license for Copilot, it will not work. Now one would say, I have already been using ChatGPT, but there is no license there. You are right with that, because ChatGPT does not generate PowerPoint presentation, Word document content, Excel resources, Loop resources. It does not help you analyze multiple Excel information or Excel content. All these things are done by Microsoft 365 Copilot. Just give me a moment. So if you look at your if you look at the cost of Microsoft 365 Copilot, it is 2,000 rupees per user per month. One second, I think this is well, this is the right one. That was the older one. This is the new one that you will see. So personal, business, enterprise. So depending upon what type of plan you want to go for. And depending upon the plan we may have chosen, you'll have relevant features for it. Per user per month. If you are going for monthly payment, 2,619 rupees. If you want to go for personal, single individual, it's 2,000 rupees. So this is the, and now you'll understand why I said don't start purchasing 5-10 licenses here. Start with 1 or 2 licenses, because unless you start generating revenue out of it, investing more will become a big problem. So that's why first get started with it. So if you look at the way how this Copilot works, it understands the context and the new questions that you are asking. It will be entirely based on the earlier context being mapped. Now, what is this context all about? Many times when you go to a website, when you go to a search engine, Google or Bing chat, right? Bing search, they don't remember the previous context. Once it comes to your Copilot resources, they always remember the previous context. Now, please understand this. Whenever, before you actually start communicating, or working with Copilot or ChatGPT for that matter, take time to set context. Who you are, what is your role, what is the task and activities that you perform, correct? So that whenever you ask a question in future, it will remember your context. It will remember who you are. So if you are training, because it's a artificial intelligence or a machine learning model that you have behind the scene. So you'll have to train that model. Please be cautious of this. First time or initial attempt, it may not give you the best output. It may give you an output, but it may not be the best output. Slowly and steadily, as you keep talking to it, as you keep interacting with the uh, chat GPT or your Copilot, it will get trained. And as you keep moving ahead, it will understand whether you want a generic information about a technology, about a product, or a task that you are doing, or you want deep dive information regarding that. So as you keep having more and more conversation, you'll have refined conversations, refined recommendations coming out of it. So if you look at your backend resource over here, you have natural language processing, which is also referred as NLPs, right? Now, what is this NLP all about? As far as NLP is concerned, the natural language processing is concerned, it may not be a technical language. It may not be a technical term which is being used. It is simple English, simple day-to-day used English that we have. At times, people may speak to it, right? So translating that speech into text, or at times people may not even speak. They will upload a file or upload an image saying, can you please translate this image for me? Right? So what is this image all about? Based on that, provide me certain contents, provide me certain information. That is what is called as natural language processing. Now, when you are specifying these natural languages, behind the scene, it will convert, it will translate it, do the required processing, and then send this information to Microsoft Graph for your organizational details. Use LLM behind the scene. So what is available on websites, what is available on industry specific members, capturing all that information. Again, checking back to your Microsoft Graph and finally giving back the response to the end user. Right? Same way how it was being discussed in the video. I've already mentioned about these members. So in terms of LLMs, this is a specialized environment, operates as generative AI producing new content. So this is the actual place where the content is coming from. It provides the engine that drives your Copilot capabilities. And in behind the scene, it is working using Azure OpenAI service. In terms of natural language processing, I already mentioned about that. And here, the components being used is tokenization. So whenever we are giving commands, it will be broken up into tokens in the backend. It will do a semantic analysis, sentiment analysis, do a language translation. So all these things are done using the NLP. Earlier, uh, we have been doing these things using cognitive services. All these things are now part of your NLP here. Along with this, once it comes to our data, there is huge amount of information lying on the OneDrive, SharePoint environment, your mailboxes that you have, your Teams chat that you have, lots and lots of information which we are not even aware about. At times we have not even paid attention to it. Now is the time to train this guy, train this Copilot, right? And make him more and more efficient so that he can generate the right content for you. He can generate right information for you. Second important member that you have is your Microsoft 365 Copilot, where it can provide set of information, provide set of relevant contents based on the pre-existing email messages that we have, Teams chat that we have, right? Your existing files within SharePoint libraries, within your OneDrive. So based on all the current information that you have, so as an individual, how are you known within the organization? You are known by the work that you do, people that you interact, your existing profile, the resources that you use, correct? So Microsoft Graph brings in all that information, correlates that with the existing LLM, so that Om Prakash is a person whose AVP delivery, what kind of content this person will require, what level of content, what level of, if he's a solution architect or enterprise architect, what kind of information will be relevant to this guy. It will generate that information. Another key principle that you'll see over here, guys, just give me 1 minute, I'll be back. So till now, we have been talking extensively about what it can do, what Copilot can provide or produce as an information. Let's see a quick examples over here before you all start imagining that whatever Om Prakash is saying, this is more imaginary rather than having a mapped outcome for it. So let me show you some quick examples over here so that it makes sense for you all. So if you all see the Copilot option on the extreme right hand side, right? Create a presentation from file, create a presentation about. So here, bottom right hand side corner, create presentation about. Benefits of HR policy. So what it is doing is, it is scanning all the information, scanning all the details in the background. And based on the current details, it has got a presentation created. Introduction to HR policies, employee retention engagement, reduced turnover, compliance and risk management. So whatever is relevant from that perspective, from HR policies, what are the advantages over here? It has gone ahead and created the material. Is it the best material? May not be, but from a broad perspective or the key points available in the industry, it has produced that details. Right? So it remembers the previous context that we had. So what are the latest trends that you have? Right? So I can help you with a relevant content. And sometimes it may not work because we may not have done it earlier. So here what I can do is, create a presentation about latest trends in HR policies for IT organization. And this is called as prompt engineering. So as you keep learning about resources, as you keep learning about your implementation, you keep refining these prompts. And if you go to the respective exercises, that is what is being done. It teaches you how to refine your conversations, how to refine the prompts that you are writing so that you have more relevant information. And now you see this is more relevant to IT organizations. The previous one was generic set of details. So as an individual, as user of these resources, we have to learn how to talk to it. What is the kind of information that we should share, and as a response of it, what is the information or what is the details being given back. This was more generic information, HR policies, employee engagement. Now we are talking specific about benefits of remote work, because remote work is not a generic context. It is more in terms of IT services. Remote work policies, developers who are overworked at times, measuring the impact and improving the mental health, right? So there could be specific details that one can add over here. And this could be for different products within your Microsoft 365 environment, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So if you already have a reference file, if you have any local details, you can provide that as a reference guide saying, pick up the information from my current environment. So if you want to add more information here, we can do that. So how detailed you want it, add scenarios, add examples. I can add uh, other company references over here. So what is the depth you want to specify? Sorry, I'm just taking one use case scenario here from an HR point of view, but I'm just trying to showcase how it can keep adding to your details, how you can make it more robust. And again, this may not be the best possible over here. You may have, like I said, you have to add your existing policies, your first draft that you may have written, which may not be the best one, but it captures your company details. Now that information you have to upload and attach over here as a file. So it can use that basic information, work on top of it, plus add the industry relevance. So it will become more and more precise what you are expecting it to do. Like I mentioned earlier, once it comes to the details here, Microsoft is committed to responsible AI. Now, what is the meaning of responsible AI? When one would say whatever information we are sharing to this uh, Copilot, it can capture this information, train the LLM, because this LLM is common, right? It can train the LLM and provide it to other organization, my competitors. And that will be a big loss for me. Because if that happens, there is nothing which is an IP to my intellectual property for my organization, right? Microsoft clearly mentions that, and not just for Copilot, even in earlier scenarios, Microsoft has never shared any information, customer information, to the outside world. But yes, it uses customer information to tune their algorithms so that the efficiency is faster. But that data is not leaked out to anybody else. It may capture details saying how many users are using Copilot, what are uh, generic use cases, organizational use cases of Copilot. But there is no specific information being shared anywhere. It is majorly in terms of numbers from the metrics point of view. So some of the examples which I already showcased to you all: compose and summarize the documents, right? So currently what I have done is I have the details being mapped over here. I can use Copilot for summarizing the information or adding any further details or changes which I would want. So if you have a pre-existing document, it can help you to understand in fewer lines, fewer sentences, what this document is all about, what it's trying to say. Right? There are a lot of pre-existing shortcuts as well. Editing a prompt, checking the current draft. You can either use your keyboard, mouse, or you can use respective shortcuts over here. Like I'm using Alt I to get this information, get the details over here. What I did earlier was I chatted or I communicated with the Copilot. And while I was doing it, what I did is I specified the prompts over here. I specified the basic conversation that what I want it to do and what would be the next subsequent steps over here, which will help me perform those activities. Once it comes to your Copilot within your Outlook environment, it can help you perform multiple tasks like summarizing the email threads, drafting a new email that you would want at times. And I'll tell you, this happened with me in some scenarios. Whenever you get a negative feedback from the customer and you have already put in a lot of efforts over there, and just your one nasty email can disturb the entire relationship that you have, correct? And at times, this will help you. So you may want to put up a message or you want to respond back to the customer, but you don't want to sound rude, right? So you first type whatever message you want with just a word of caution. Never put your customer email address, right? You may use a Word document, you may use Outlook. Ask, just write your message. Then select that and say, okay, make it, mellow it down, but retain the messaging. Now, what that would do is that will help you to draft a content, draft an email, which will be which will convey the message. Customer will understand what you're trying to say, what steps you have taken during the match, what were the problems at their end. The system failure was there. People were not turning on time, right? So there was an issue. All that aspects you can create it or craft it easily. If you still feel that no, some points are missed out, you can add that over there. But As a human being, if you read the previous sentences, you would you would try to write a new sentence which goes with the same flow, right? So that's how you'll be able to manage these things in an easier manner. And this is what how it has helped me in multiple cases. Because at times, and this is about a business, right? And I'm talking to business users. So many a times the end customer may want to throw up a blame on you or push the entire onus on you and not do a payment. So you'll have to be assertive. You'll have to put your points across. I'm not saying customer will still go and pay you. That's a different aspect. But at least you are assertive saying that, boss, I did my best in this given scenario. And yes, we should take lessons from it. So we'll improve it in future. But it is always essential that we assert ourselves. So without being rude. So all these things you can generate using all these places you can leverage on Copilot. Their drafting skills, the way how it should appear, the way how it should sound, using the natural language processing, having your context-based suggestions over here, right? So here you can have your, yeah, this is what I was talking about, allows refinements of drafts by adjusting the tone or length. This is the point which I was elaborating on. And this is something which I have seen at various junctures. Second important thing that you want to take care when there are new people joining in, they may have done something which was not supposed to be done, not as per the organization rule. So how do you respond to that? Because you can't be very strict saying because they are new to this organization. So whatever has happened was not a known mistake in advent of trying to help somebody else. They may have shared a personal information of another employee, right? And some of these things should not be done in future. So how do we bring out that corrective measure? That is one of the key things that we can do when we are allowing the Copilot to draft for you. So I already showed you one of the examples of how do you create a presentation over here using the designer. So if you want to add more design aspects, look at more templates which are available, which can convey the messaging in a much more effective manner, we can do that. Let me quote one more example here. I'm not sure if you all have come across this. In our cases, if we have to put up a EDM, create a marketing material, now at times what happens is there are 4 to 5 attempts that a marketing designer would have to do, where the sales team would say, no, no, this is not conveying the message. Can you use another format? And that takes another 2 or 3 days because 50, 60 slides, going to every slide, checking for the messaging, changing the images, right? Now, a simple EDM or a simple presentation may take around 2 to 3 weeks and 15 to 16 iterations. These things can be simplified by using Copilot. So something that may take 15, 16 iterations, and that iteration, each iteration is 2 to 3 days. Here, every iteration can take 2 to 3 minutes. So within one day or maximum 5 to 6 hours, you have all your iterations being done, all the required inputs, all the appropriate points being added, and you have your final presentation, like how I was doing it with the Word document. So any kind of adjustments, formatting, animations, you keep asking this, and what Copilot would do is it will speed up those things, perform those things at much more faster pace. That's the advantage that we have with Copilot. Same thing also with Excel as well. So I can have respective formulas, data insights. If there's any kind of challenges, right, within your environment, apply styles, fonts, color, pivot. tables, graphs. So all these things can work smoothly using the Copilot assistants. Now, within our Teams environment, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, these are the standard places. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. These are standard places where we are generating new content. Once it comes to your Teams environment, this is one of the core members that we have. This is one of the core resources that we have where we are collaborating with different team members. As part of this collaboration journey, here what happens is we'll have to make sure all the information being discussed, all the important points that people would have mentioned, those details should get captured. Otherwise, that person will feel demotivated, saying, I had shared critical aspects, but nothing of that is coming out in the minutes of the meeting. And it is humanly possible that if a person is making MOM or person is making a note of certain things, it is possible that certain things are getting messed up. So here what we can do is we can enable a transcript within our environment. And when we are creating this transcript, we'll be able to summarize this meeting and it will ensure that all the points that were discussed, the key points that were discussed is being taken care. So any information like summary for latecomers, enabling swift catch-ups, if there's any on-demand insight which is required, or meeting transcript that needs to be generated. So rather than recording it or typing these things, we can just speak to it and it will automatically, using the NLP in the background, natural language processing, generate all this information for us. Now, believe me, guys, while I'm talking about this, it might seem very simple that yes, we can do it by a human being. We can do it two or three people making notes and then we merge it all together. This is a time consuming activity. And especially for a startup or a small size organization or a mid size organization where there is a cutthroat competition, where speed, efficiency, and quality matters. Losing out time on these things will be very, very dangerous. So we'll have to make sure that we don't lose out time. We don't create challenges for ourselves and for our colleagues, right? That's why your Microsoft 365 Copilot will make sense for us. Just one more aspect. If you look at the storage aspects over here, storing the entire recording of the Teams meeting, that's one aspect. And having a Word document or a transcript of all the discussion or the summary of that. Just look at the size of each of them. So 2 hours of meeting will go into GBs, correct? And when you have such a large information being stored, from a usability point of view, it will again not make sense for an end user. So the end user may not even go back and listen to every point inside that. Whereas if this is being translated into a transcript or summarized into a document, it will become easier for reference. Now, the question here is, how am I supposed to use these things? How am I supposed to use Copilot? So there are two options. So one option which I showed you all right now in terms of going to the application, right? That's one. Second is you can use a business chat. Just give me a moment. So I can go to my environment over here. Right? So you can go to a business chat. In number of places, We can specify the details. We can specify our questions or prompts that we want by using the business chat. Now, this business chat that you'll see is very similar to your standard chat GPT from an interaction point of view. But the major difference over here is this business chat will be able to leverage on your existing content sources, which standard chat GPT cannot do. It's taking some time. So if you have any organizational information that you'd want to put up over here, we can do that. Yeah. Okay. So create a curriculum on Copilot Studio with OpenAI integration. Just give it a moment. I'm not sure why it is running slow today. All the pages are running fine, except this one. Maybe Copilot has got overworked today. So what this should do actually is it should provide us the details in terms of Copilot Studio, because Copilot Studio is our resource which will help us to perform that integration. Since I'm running short on time, right? So what I was trying to mention about is the core purpose of Copilot Studio, which is our next module. So once it comes to your standard Copilot resources, working with your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, existing information, creating new information, right? That's the standard approach. But many times, or starting from the first slide itself, I have been repeating a point saying we can have our organizational information being added there. Now, how that would happen? Or if I have any specific SharePoint sites, if I have my own company website, how do I add that information here? How do I get that details over here? Now, in that scenario, what we'll have to do is we'll have to work with our Copilot environment, identify clear and concise prompts for trust the information being generated, but also verify if you want to add any other information, add any other details that you want. If you feel that when I said below down, it has still not achieved that level, I want to go one more level below. It's up to you because you know the customer better than Copilot. We need to have a regular feedback. And the most important problem that we could create is over reliance. So for every small thing, don't start using Copilot. So if something where you think that this is taking more time, this is where there is a high-end creativity required, use that. Otherwise, at times what you could do is you could make even a simple thing more and more complex, which is not what you would want to do. So once it comes to your prompts, the message that we are typing, we need to have multiple things in mind. First thing is, what do you want the Copilot to achieve, right? And this is something that you should have at back of our mind. I want a list of 3 to 5 bullet points for me to prepare for my communication, conversation, or if I'm delivering a sales pitch. What is the context? Is it a meeting with a client? What are you looking to achieve? You want to close a deal? You want to share a feedback? You want to initiate a conversation? What is the context that you have? What is the expectation from the Copilot, right? And first time, it may not provide you the best possible results. So you may have to keep refining, keep adding more and more relevant details so that you achieve something which is called as effective prompt. And finally, what is the information samples that you're going to use? So are you uploading a document or are you adding some of the relevant details over here, which can make sense for the customer? So using these 4 principles, they can build a effective prompt. Just give me 1 second. Any success here? So what this is supposed to do is, this will help us, like I mentioned earlier, what information you will require, how do you refine these members, and the core purpose over here is to look at the extension options. Right? So these are your extension points that you have. Using AI Builder with GPT for enhanced capabilities. Now this is what should be your next step. So after learning about the foundations of Copilot, you should go and complete the course, practice these things, and our next session or our next conversation should be based on extending the Copilot and what will be the ways and means for doing that. So I'll stop to this for today. Let me take a look if I have any questions here. I didn't get the numbers, what you're talking about. Okay, these are the links that you have. Links from where this information is coming. And these values which they have mentioned are below. FAQs, PowerPoint, Power Platform, Copilot. These are the references that we have, the legends which is being mentioned over there. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your patience and support. Manoj, if you look at the Copilot and Chat GPT, so like I said, Chat GPT, the general one, the generic one is only talking to LLM. It does not have any information about your local environment, your local Microsoft graph, which is being taken care with your Copilots. So Copilot also has association with your local information, your organizational details. Sure. Archie, can you help them with our YouTube channel link? So meanwhile, this session gets posted there. Even the existing information they can go through. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Archie will provide all the necessary details. Over to you, Archie.